Hi, today we're going to find out what sorts of things when we insert them into a loop will allow the test bulbs to light. Now prior to doing this experiment, you should have made all of your predictions for the objects that were listed on the left side of your activity sheet, and maybe you added a few extras for other things you found around your house that you'd like to test as well. So I will mostly be going in order on the sheet that you have in front of you, but there might be some changes, variations along the way. So, and please remember, if I start going too quickly, you can just pause, record your stuff, and then come back and take a look at those things later. So let's get started. First, before we get rolling, you need to make sure that if you have to have a test loop, 3-cell battery pack, 2 bulbs, and 4 wires in the loop. The only difference between this one is we have 2 loose end wires in between bulbs 1 and 2. When they touch together, the test bulbs light. As we move forward, we have a piece of aluminum foil. I touched the aluminum foil with one wire and then with the other wire, and the test bulbs light. Cardboard. Test bulbs do not light. Paperclip. Test bulbs light. Wax paper. Test bulbs do not light. Shoestring. Test bulbs do not light. Tap water. Now, we know that we're not supposed to mix electricity and water, so don't do this one at home. But if I take the 2 loose ends of this and put it into the tap water, notice that the test bulbs do not light. However, if this was not something close to pure water and you put salt in it, earlier today I put salt in a container and dropped my leads in there. And you might notice that it already looks a little bit different, but if I drop my leads in there and don't let the two wires touch, notice that the bulbs are lit, but they're very, very dim. I'm going to turn this light off just so you can see the glow of each of the 2 bulbs. So that's unpure water or salt water. Next, they asked us to test plastic. I used the outside of the film canister that the bulbs are in. The test bulbs did not light. Next up, I'm going to use rubber from the bottom of my tennis shoe. 1, 2, 3, and the test bulbs did not light. Oh, it looks like I forgot to test air. Well, air is between them right now. Are the test bulbs lit? They are not. Moving on, we want to check out a socket clip. Now, we're not using the sockets for the test bulbs that we have. We always need to make sure those will light. I brought in a third socket. And first, I'm going to test both wires to one alligator clip. Yep, there you go. And to the base, if I touch them both to the top plate and down here to the base, if I touch both ends of the wire to the same piece of metal, then the test bulbs light. We're going to look at that in more detail tomorrow. Next up, we have, I think alligator clips are next. So I just brought in an extra wire that's not hooked on to anything else. It's just a loose wire, and I put an alligator clip out there. And we go both ends of the test loop, go to the alligator clips, and yes, that bulb lights. What if I went end to end, put one wire on one alligator clip and one end of the wire on the other alligator clip, and yes, the test bulbs light. Next up, we've got the battery pack. Now this one you can't actually do because we're not testing the battery pack that we have already. I have a second empty battery pack, so we have the red springs and the blue bolt. And I think it says the screw of the battery pack, so I'm going to go down to the blue bolt. And yes, if I touch both ends of the wire to the blue bolt, they light, the test bulbs light. And if I test both ends of the testing loop to the red springs, different parts of the red springs, the test bulbs light. What if I went from one spring to another spring without a battery in there? That's interesting. Then the bulbs don't light. Next up, parts of a bulb. We've got the glass of the bulb. These can be challenging even to touch properly. Both on the glass of the bulb. Next up, we have both on the tip of the bulb. This is hard to get both of them to touch without the wires touching. There you go. So yes, if both wires touch the tip but don't touch each other, the test bulbs light. The threaded section, so if you touch both ends of the wire to the threaded parts, the test bulbs do light. And then the black ring, this again, it's pretty challenging to touch this and only touch the black ring. And the test bulbs do not light, but when we touch both ends to the black ring, and then you are allowed to make up some of your own. Some of the things that I found around my house that I thought you might have as well is a metal utensil, a fork, a knife, a spoon, whatever. So the fork, the test bulb's lit. I just found a piece of string, piece of cloth. Test bulbs did not light. I found a piece of glass, like this is part of a test tube, but you could use like the outside of a glass that you would drink out of, or a plate. I found a wooden piece of a toy. Test bulbs do not light. Now here's an object. We have a push pin. We have a white plastic part here and a metal part here. What if I were to touch both ends to the plastic push pin part and the test bulbs do not light? But what if I touch both ends to the metal part? And the answer is yes, the test bulbs light. What if I go one end on the metal part that goes in the wall or into the board and the other part to the plastic? 1, 2, 3. Then the test bulbs do not light. What if we went, oh no, one of my demo pieces is missing. So what if we went with two ends of a wooden pencil and the test bulbs do not light? Now, I'll be honest, I don't know if this next one's going to work because I thought this was prepped and ready to go. Now I'm going to try to touch the lead of the pencil and the lead of the pencil and see if we can get the test bulbs to light. And it does. I don't see the bulbs lighting on this, but these are not sharpened ends. We're going to have to take another look at that one tomorrow. Anyway, I hope that helps you review some of the things that we may have looked at in class as well. Oh, I found a rubber band and a penny. Let's test these. 1, 2, 3. Yep, for the penny, the bulb's lit. For the rubber band, not so much. So, you have a lot of data here, but maybe what we should do instead of saying what are the things used for or what color are they, maybe one of the patterns we could find is what materials are these things made out of, and is that a reason why the test bulbs were lit or unlit? Thank you.